All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of our Aquarium's Online Academy. My name is Talia. I'm from our education department. And we're really excited that you're going to share a little bit of your morning with us today. Now, today, we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject. We're going to be talking all about life cycles, and we'll get into that a little bit more. After our introduction here, but I wanted to welcome everybody. So I'm in our studio right now. I'm not alone. I do have a couple friends to help me out. I have Miss Kaya, who's behind the computer, who's going to be changing all the magic behind me here. We also have Miss Alicia at another computer, and she's going to help us with questions today. So if you're wondering about something today, if you see something during our program and you go, I want to know a little bit more about that, you can text us questions. And our number is right down here, right below on your screen. It's 562-286-1838. And that's how you can interact with us live today on Monday morning. And we got our zebra shark coming by. Whoa! And some other friends. So this is our webcam behind us here. Now, if you're not watching this live, and you still have questions, you can still send us questions. We just ask that you email us instead. And our email address is down below on your screen. It is live@lbaop.org. So those are two ways to interact with us, depending on when you're watching this morning or a little bit later. So let's start off with the kind of very basic question of what is a life cycle? What do we mean when we say life cycle? Now, when I think about life cycle, I think about kind of when something is a baby all the way to kind of when it passes away. So that's kind of the life, it's kind of the whole picture of that animal or plant's life. And we're going to be talking a little bit about how animals change throughout their life cycle. We're going to be kind of focusing a little bit more on the middle of all that and some really interesting things that animals do from when they're babies to when they're adults. Now let's think about that for a minute. Are all animals life cycles, are they all the same? Do the babies look like the grown-ups? Do they all just have one baby? Do some of them have lots of babies? There's a lot of different things we can talk about when we're talking about different life cycles. Now, I wanted to start off today with thinking about what we call a simple life cycle. And that means that kind of the baby kind of looks pretty similar to what the adult looks like. So maybe if you have baby brothers and sisters at home, they kind of look like maybe a mini you, and you kind of look like a mini adult. And this is our harbor seals here at the aquarium. This is Kaya the seal, not Kaya, my friend behind the computer. This is Kaya the seal, and this is her mama. And they look, they're adorable. I'm going to get out of the adorableness. They are super adorable, and they look pretty similar. If you took mama here and kind of shrunk her down, you would more or less get what baby Kaya looks like there. Oh, so much love. So that's what we think about when we think about simple life cycles. This is mama and baby. They're going to look pretty similar, and they're going to just kind of change a little bit more in size, more so than kind of how they look overall. So seals, pretty simple life cycle. Humans, pretty simple life cycle. What's another animal that we think about with a simple life cycle? Maybe you have one at home. What about a cat or a dog? A kitten kind of looks like a mini cat, right? Or a puppy looks a little bit like a mini dog. So that's another example of what we call a life cycle that's simple. Ooh, and I see Miss Amador's class is tuning in today. Good morning, everybody. And they're asking, why do some sea animals have babies and some lay eggs? That's a fantastic question. So it just kind of depends on the different kind of adaptations they have and the different strategies that they have. So some animals, it makes more sense to spend a lot of energy to have like one or two really, really strong babies. And that's what's going to make sure you have more of that animal in the future, like, say, a mammal like a seal. Other animals, they're just going to have lots of babies. And some of those are most of those are probably going to be coming from things like eggs. And they're going to just hope that just a few of those survive into the future. So it just kind of depends on different strategies in terms of where that animal is or what kind of habitat they're in. Different strategies are going to help them figure out kind of which one's going to work best for in terms of making sure there's more of them in the future. I hope that makes sense a little bit. That's a great question. There's definitely so. Whoa! Miss Kaya just changed. What are these behind me? Are they eyeballs? Are they bubbles for bubble tea? No, these are frog eggs. So frogs are one of those animals that lay eggs. And they, as you can see, lay a lot of eggs. I think they also lay them, I want to say they lay them close to like a leaf or something, so they're in a little bit of water. But a frog is an example of a different type of life cycle we call a complex life cycle. So this is one that the baby's going to look real different from what the grown-up looks like. So frog might be an example of something you were thinking about, that where the babies look a little different than they do when they're grown up. So frogs start out like these guys. They start out as eggs. And in maybe about a week or so, maybe about 7 to 10 days, they're going to start looking a little bit different. And maybe you've even seen, if you've gone to a river or a lake or a marsh, maybe you've seen little tadpoles swimming in the water. So they're going to start looking a little bit more almost like a fish. And they're actually going to have gills like a fish as well. Now, Ms. Kaya, I think we have some pictures a little bit further down that shows a little bit of the life cycle there. Yeah, just that whole ring. Perfect. Okay, so we got the eggs like we saw before. They start becoming little embryos with little froggy friends starting to grow inside, and then they're gonna start looking a little bit more, again, kind of like a fish. And then even further into that may be about 6 to 9 weeks. They're gonna look like this friend over here. And that guy starting to look a little bit different. They have this long tail here. But what's this? What? They are almost a fish with legs here. They have little legs in the back. And they're starting to get lungs as well. And then they start kind of shifting even a little bit more. And in 10 weeks, they have front legs right over there. And their mouth is a little bit bigger too. So they kind of go from being something that looks more like a fish, starting to look like something that's going to be a little bit more on land. And then in about 15 to 16 weeks, so that would see 1, 2, 3, about 4 months or so, they're going to be the adult friend. And they're going to look a lot different than where we started with eggs and fishy friends with legs, all the way up to a grown-up. So I think that's a really huge, interesting change. That you go from something being very aquatic to being something that's very much more going to be comfortable up on land with lungs and legs and all sorts of other things. Ooh, we have another class joining us today. Ooh, here's an example. I'll get out of the way here. Let's see. This is a tadpole with a tail and legs. And then this looks like a little bit more like our grown-up friend here. Looks like they have both their hind legs and their front legs, and they have their little nubbin of a tail there, so that tail kind of gets shorter and shorter as they get closer to being a grown-up. Miss Excel's class is also joining us, and here's a really fun frog friend smiling at us and saying good morning. Mrs. Excel's class is joining us as well. Ooh, and they were asking, what are the black spots on the frog eggs? And I believe those are the developing frogs, I believe. I don't think it's their eyes. I do notice that like this one does have 2. So maybe it's like a very primitive eye, but I don't think so. I think that's just the embryo. Miss Alicia's saying, yes, ma'am. Yeah, so this is just the embryo. This is baby frog that's starting to develop in the kind of the bigger part of the egg? That's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for joining us, Mrs. Excel's class. Now, before I forget to, since we do have a couple of classes that are starting to join us this morning, we'd love to know how many students are joining us as well, just so we can keep better track of our viewership here. So my teacher friends, if you don't mind texting us in really quick, the number of your students, that would help us out to know how many people are watching these programs so we can better serve you. And again, that number is right down below, right on your screen, 562-286-1838. And I'll try to remind you guys at the end as well. Cool. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Okay, so we talked a little bit about a frog, and our baby frog, little eggy friend, definitely looks a lot different than ribbit adult frog. So that's a pretty good example of one that is a little bit more complex, a little bit more changes than, say, a kitty to a cat or baby seal to grown-up seal. Now, I wanted to focus also on another one of my favorite ocean friends that likes to move in the water a little bit like this. And I'm wondering if you guys can guess who I'm thinking of. Oh, Miss Kaya got it. So I was thinking about jellies, and jellies, you can call them jellyfish. We call them sea jellies here at the aquarium. They have a really interesting life cycle as well. I'll let you guys take a moment to. I love all the colors. I feel like we changed our lighting in our jelly exhibit. It looks like they're in space. I love it so much. You can really see all the yellow and kind of gold and orange that these friends have in their bells. These are called sea nettles or West Coast sea nettles. They're so beautiful. So they have that body that goes bloop, bloop, bloop and helps them swim around. They have these long, frilly, lacy arms that help them grab their food and bring it up to their mouth and go nom, 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 nom. But they also have tentacles, which are little, right there. They're a little bit stringier, and they're the ones that are going to be helping sting that food and help make it still so they can bring it up and eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Miss Amadora's class was asking, I think they were talking about maybe the frog eggs we were looking at earlier. They're asking if there was one baby per egg or if there's any twins. So most times, I think most animals that do have eggs are typically one baby per egg, but skates, I've seen skates that have had twins before. So they lay an egg just like this, and sometimes skates have had twins within those egg cases that they have. This is a shark egg, very similar for skates as well. So yeah, it depends on the animal. Most are going to have one baby per egg, but there have been some skate twins out there. I think I saw that one at an aquarium once. It was pretty cool. Very good question. Okay, whoa, jellies. I'm going to get out of the way of the jellies here. Jellies have another one of those complex life cycles. When they're babies, they look very, very different than what they do when they're grown-ups. And we have moon jellies here at the aquarium, and we have some pretty good examples of what they look like when they are babies. So this is the adult. This is kind of similar to what we were seeing before. And there they have boys and girls, and they do make a little egg. I'm going to try to get really good about my backwards pointing today. Egg up there, and the egg is going to slowly start changing its shape. It's actually going to be going from swimming around like this and having an adventure to being like, I'm tired, and I'm going to kind of settle down for a little bit, and then actually go on the ground, and they stick on the ground, and they start looking a little bit more like this. Now, does this sort of remind you of maybe another animal? Does this look like, when we think about jellies, is this kind of what we think of? This kind of reminds me of one of their cousins. If you took a jelly, bloop, 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 like this, and you turn it upside down, what does that kind of look like? Oh, okay. That's okay. So it kind of looks a little bit more like this. So Miss Kaya put up a coral polyp, which is another cousin of our jellies. But this also kind of looks like a sea anemone. If you think about what Nemo lives in, that is another cousin of jellies. So when jellies are babies, they almost look like their cousins the anemone. So they start looking like this, and they stick to the ground. They have little tentacles to eat. And then this starts changing even more. So they do a really fancy process. If you want to learn a fancy word today, my friends, it's called strobulation. And they start getting longer and longer. And if you look closely here, do you notice that they look a little bit separated, especially over here? So what I think of when I think of what they're doing here is they are essentially making pancake stacks of themselves. They're going one on top of the other, 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 and they're basically making copies of themselves. If you guys maybe have a copy machine at your school, that's kind of what our baby jelly is doing. So every little pancake in the pancake stack of jellies here is the exact same jelly. Whoa, it's pretty interesting. So they make little pancake stacks of themselves, and then eventually that first pancake is gonna pop off and start swimming around, and it looks like this friend here. So this is another stage of their life called an ephyra. I think they look like a beautiful little flower here. And they're going to start swimming around, and then that body shape is going to change even more. Ooh, this is a cool picture. So they're going to start changing, and you can notice it starts getting to get a little bit more rounder here. This almost looks like what they looked like when we were looking at them when they were grown-ups, and they're going to get a little bit more of a rounded bell shape. They're going to kind of fill in a little bit more, and then they're going to look a lot more like they do when they're grown-ups. I think that jellies have a really fascinating life cycle from baby to grown-up with all sorts of different changes as they go through their life. Ooh, I see we have some more questions coming in. We have Miss Garcia's class joining us this morning. Good morning, my friends. Ooh, they're asking some great questions. Are jellies vegetarians? Ooh, that's a good question. I think most of them are carnivores. I want to say they like their meat. I can't remember. I think we might feed some of our jellies some vegetables in terms of like we have animal plankton and plant plankton. I think they get some plant plankton too. Miss Kaya is saying that they probably eat kind of whatever comes by. I don't know if they're particularly picky. I don't know if there's one that is strictly vegetables. That's strictly a vegetarian. So they might be more omnivores. Nom 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 nom, and they eat kind of whatever comes by. But yeah, I don't think there's one that's strictly vegetarian that I know of. But the ocean can always surprise us. We just found a shark that's an omnivore that likes vegetables and meat. So there's always surprises out there. So yeah, I don't think we know of one that's strictly vegetarian. They're also asking, are they poisonous? So not quite. They do have stingers, so they're considered venomous. So poisonous is something you touch or taste, and that's how it kind of gets in your system. Venom is more when it stings you. So think like a spider bite, a snake bite. They have in their little stringy tentacles there, they have almost like little barbs, little like harpoons that shoot out. They would get into the animal's skin that they're trying to eat, and then that's how they transfer that venom into the animal. Ooh, so this would be a poisonous dart frog. This would be something if you touched it or tasted it, don't. That's how that would get into your system. Miss Excel's class is asking, are dolphins born alive or are they from eggs? Now, in all my whale watches, I have not seen a dolphin sitting on an egg like that. So dolphins are mammals, so they give live birth. I have definitely seen some little baby dolphin friends hanging out close to mama as they're swimming around on whale watches. So yeah, they give live birth. So they come from their mama just like people do, and they are going to be born alive in the water. I do love to watch little baby dolphins swim because they are sometimes not the most graceful of swimmers, and they tend to go whoop and go poof and belly flop more than make nice, beautiful arcs in the ocean. So they're definitely one of my favorites to watch on whale watches. Ooh, I think we have another school coming in from the Twin Lakes. Hello, my friends. And they're asking, do jellies eat different things in different stages of their life cycles? That is a fantastic question. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there might be more different sizes versus different types of food, but some animals do have things that they eat more when they're babies and more when they're adults. I think turtles definitely eat different things when they're babies versus when they're grown-ups. So yeah, I think jellies more eat different sizes because their mouth's a little bit of a different size. That kind of makes sense, right? We eat much smaller food when we're babies than we do when we're grown-ups. So we still need to get it to a certain size to have it easy to eat, even when we're grown-ups. Yeah, so a little bit different sizes, but maybe not necessarily completely different types of food. But that's a great question. Good job, my friends. So many awesome questions. So yeah, a jelly is another example of an animal that has a complex life cycle. Now, we were talking about friends with eggs. I might put Kaya on her toes for a minute. Do we have any friends who come from eggs that have a very long face? Let's see if she can read my mind here. Ooh. We do have some bird friends with a long face here. Not quite what I was thinking of, but I'm gonna roll with it. So I was thinking of an ocean friend with a long face, but that's okay. I'm gonna roll with this. I want you to take a moment to look at this picture, because this picture, does this picture look right? This picture looks like a little confusing. I'm gonna get out of the way so you guys can get a good look at it, because we do have some more questions coming in. From Twin Lakes, Anthony was asking, do all jellyfish sting? So I believe all of them have stingers, so they all have the ability to sting. The strength of that sting versus, say, what it's trying to sting, or if you interacted with a jelly, that differs, I think, from jelly to jelly. So that's why we have moon jellies here at the aquarium that you can touch, and they're fine. They technically are still using those stingers because it's a touch-triggered reaction, but it's the strength of it is not strong enough to get all the way through your skin. Mrs. Delgado's class was asking, how long do they live? Let's see. And I know for jellies, the jelly life cycle is pretty short. I want to say it's only maybe, I want to say like 3 months or so. It's a pretty short life cycle, from 3 to 6 months for moon jellies. All right. So yeah, it's a pretty short life cycle. I think maybe if they're more in an aquarium setting, maybe they can live like a year or two, depending on. But yeah, it's a pretty short life cycle for our moon jellies. Miss Amadora's class was also asking about what baby sea animals have been born at the aquarium. Ooh, okay. So let's see. We have had, I think we've had some baby fish. We've had some baby sea bass. We've had some baby wow, we've had adorable baby cuttlefish like these friends, which are amazing. We've had baby sharks. We've had baby sea dragons. We've had baby grenards. Those are awesome. That's grown-up grenard. They almost look like the wings go pa, and they're purple and they're amazing and they go like this. We have had baby Kaya, who's a seal. I've had baby seahorses. Like this friend, like the one with the long nose that I was thinking about earlier. But yeah, so baby seahorses, like this adorable friend. Is this a baby sea dragon? All right, so this is also a baby sea dragon. But yeah, baby seahorses look kind of like mini little seahorses. If you took a seahorse and you shrunk it like down to that, that's kind of what baby seahorses look like as well. And then those come from eggs, but something maybe you know already, is that Papa takes care of the baby. So the dad seahorse is the one that holds on to the eggs until they're ready to be born. So I think that's pretty cool. And they do this little dance so that Mama still makes the eggs, but then they do this little dance, and then Mama gives the eggs to Dad. He has a little pouch that stores the eggs. He hangs onto them, and then every once in a while you'll see this little flap forming, and then you're seeing like, boop, 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 tiny little seahorses like this friend come out, and then they're ready to go. They are pretty adorable. You can see it's all seeing its lovely little tail there to hold on to the grass. So their tail curls kind of like a monkey's tail. It's pretty neat. Yeah. So seahorses, really interesting life cycle of friends that live, that come from eggs as well. Oh my goodness, very cool. Let's go back to that funny picture that Miss Kaya put up, because I wanted to see if you noticed what is interesting about this photograph here. We're gonna have to do some scientist sleuthing today. Okay, I see we have feathers, so I'm pretty sure I'm looking at a bird. I see the bird's head, I see the beak, I see the wings, I see the Wait a minute. What? What is? Hold on. Okay. I have a pink leg, and I have a pink leg, and I have all these other legs. Did we just discover a new bird, Miss Kaya? Yep. We did. We did. It's a six-legged bird. That's amazing. Too many legs. People are saying no. Too many legs. Too many legs. I think I agree with you, my friends. And I think there's something funny going on in this picture. Miss Kaya, can you help me out here? Oh my goodness. That's what was going on. So this is mama bird. This is a black neck still with really long legs. They actually have one of the longest leg to body ratios of all birds. I think the flamingo is one of the only ones that has a little bit longer. And these are all our beautiful babies. Yeah, everybody's like, babies! Yeah, so mama was kind of had everybody under her wings like this, and we just happened to snap a really funny picture of everybody huddled under mama. So this is what the babies look like when they're a little bit older. So you might also notice their coloration, their feathers are different than mama's. Why is that? Why would they want to look different when they're babies versus when they're grown-ups? Interesting. You might notice, look at the ground color where they live. Is it also kind of yellow and spotty and black and white and gray? And they're kind of yellow and spotty and black and white and gray. So that helps them camouflage a little bit better when they're older. And then mama's camouflage is still camouflage too. It's just a different camouflage. So they're dark on the top and light on the bottom. So that helps them blend in from friends looking up and from friends looking down. So if they're looking down, they blend in with kind of maybe the dark water. If they're looking up, they're blending in with the sunlight as well. Queenie is asking, what do sea urchin babies look like? Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know if we have grown-up sea urchin pictures. I don't think we have urchin pictures. I'm going to take a guess, and I know that urchins spawn, meaning they have an egg that forms in the water and swims around, and then eventually it settles and becomes an urchin. And I don't remember exactly what the baby urchin looks like, but it's going to look like a little kind of, I'm going to totally guess and say a little ovally round thing, egg, and then eventually, I want to say maybe it almost looks like a crown. I'm guessing. So this is going to be my homework because I'm going to look up what sea urchin babies look like. So Miss Queenie, next time you ask that question, I can definitely give you a very succinct answer. But yeah, it's going to probably look a lot different than this spiky friend. And then eventually it settles and then shifts, kind of like thinking like what the jellies do, into eventually looking like this friend here. That's a great question. That's going to be my homework today. And then Rosalind was asking, do jellyfish have mouths? And if they do, where are they located? So they do, but they don't have like teeth. They don't have like chompers in the middle here. They do have kind of a hole. So they have a hole kind of more around the edge here, kind of by their stomach. So you might notice there's these little loops on the guy jelly here. And kind of by the base of those, there would be little holes, and then that's what they kind of stuff the food into. So it's just more of an opening than like a mouth with teeth. That's a great question. And then Miss Garcia's class was asking, are mammals, are they the only ones to nurse their babies? So I would go hazard a guess and say yes. So one of the things that make mammals is that they are giving milk to their babies. I'm trying to think of exceptions. There probably are. I know a platypus is a super weird mammal, so that comes from an egg, but still a mammal. So they might also give milk to their babies. I don't remember for sure, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, definitely mammals are one of the ones that give milk to their babies. And then other friends have other ways to get nutrients, either the regurgitating food or giving them like baby bugs or something like that, like Miss Kaya here. So Miss Kaya is going to give milk to her, or Kaya's mama is going to give milk to baby Kaya, and then they are going to eventually get up to solid food once they kind of get everything else. They are so adorable. Oh my goodness. So much snuggles and love there. Oh my goodness, my friends, you have asked it's so adorable. You have asked so many amazing questions, my friends. So thank you for joining me on this discovery of all sorts of different life cycles of our animals, friends. From when they're babies, all the way to when they're grown up. So thank you, my friends, so much for joining us today. Again, my teacher friends, if you have just joined us, we do ask if you could really quickly text us how many students are in your class watching today, just so we can better know what our numbers are and hope we can better serve you as well. You can text us in right down there, 562-286-1838. We sure would appreciate it, just so we can gather more information about how many people are watching. Thank you so much for joining us, my friends. You guys all asked fantastic questions. And again, if you still have questions, later on, you can email us as well. So we ask that once our program is over, you guys can switch over to email. So you can email us your questions at live@lbaop.org. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning, and we hope to see you again on, I think, Wednesday. Wednesday will be our next edition of our Aquarium's online Academy. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and have a good rest of your morning. Bye, everybody.